Alrighty, I want to talk about cones. So, as normal, I'm going to draw like a horizon line. And a cone is like a cylinder that is like tapering. So, I'm going to draw one kind of sitting on the horizon. Like, let's say like the cone is sitting directly on the horizon. No, you know what? I'm going to go with this. I'm going to draw like a cone first. Usually what I like to do is I like to draw a line, and then I draw an ellipse. I'm going to do one a bit thinner. We have an ellipse, and like you may be wondering where to taper it. Well, I like to use the end of the line, if I can do this right. And we kind of have like a cone. Now, normally, you're not always going to see every part of the ellipse, but because we're drawing in 3D space, you kind of can see it. I'm going to erase the part that like you normally wouldn't see. So there's a lot to a cone that you're not normally going to see if you're like actually looking at one, unless it's translucent and you can actually see parts of it. So like normally a cone kind of looks like that. It's kind of weird because like, you know, it's hard to depict how it really looks, sits, and feels in 3D space. So normally, if you're looking like at a cone top down, it's just gonna look like a circle. It's kind of hard to depict the point of it because we're looking at it like top down. Clearly, there's going to be a point, which the point is more often than not going to be in the center of it. So like, but it's really hard to see that. So there are various ways that you could think of it. You could think of it as like a series of ellipses that are getting larger as you go down it. I'm going to show how this maps. I'm just going to draw. I'm going to try to draw some ellipses here. And I know this isn't perfect, but please bear with me. So what I'm going to do here, we have like a cone, and I kind of drew these cross sections to kind of depict how it's going to sit. Now I'm going to draw a line. Like let's say we're looking at it. It's the best way. I am going to use that horizon I drew at some point, but maybe not yet. Darn, I really want to do that now. But no, I'm going to do it this way. We have a cone, and we can kind of see, wow, why can I do this? And I'm going to show how this maps. So we have that point there, and that point's like right there. And we have an ellipse there, and I'm going to like show it. What's the best way? I'm going to do it like that. Don't worry, this line that I'm drawing on the horizon is going to be a fun experiment for later. If I can do it right, if I could think about it right. I'm never trying to mislead you. If I ever do poorly explain something, it's my own fault. Wow, what is wrong with me today? Oh well. So okay, we have that circle, and I'm looking over here, and I'm going to draw like another one. And another one. So basically, I'm going to show how that one maps. Say that one maps to the bottom. And you know, that's just the bottom one. Doesn't really matter because we kind of already drew it here. So the important thing to know is it's like a bunch of ellipses that are like smaller sections, I believe the right word is circumference, they're getting smaller like over time. From obviously the top here, you're going to have the smallest ones, the smallest one being the tip top of the cone, the point, and the largest ellipse you're going to have is at the bottom here. And it's all made up of all these different cross sections of circles. So, and I hope to God I'm saying this right when it comes to the horizon line. If you're looking at it like straight on the horizon, it's just going to look like a line. I believe if it's below... wow, I really made that awful. I'm trying to think. There's probably a tapering rule. I'm really messing up here, but wow. I'm just going to draw the cone first. And thanks for putting up with my really sloppy drawing, as it always does get a bit difficult. I didn't draw this perfectly. Assuming it's not going to be perfect. Oh well. Okay, so we have a cone. Since it's like at the horizon, this line here, it's like the ellipse for that is just going to be like a perfect line. If you would really, if you would think about how it relates, it from our perspective, because we're looking at it straight on, it's a straight line, but in reality actually is like an ellipse. So it's like one of these sections. Like, just because of how we're viewing it doesn't mean that it's not still an ellipse. It's definitely still an ellipse. Now, I want to say, because a certain portion of this cone, specifically this section, is above the horizon line, I believe the way to kind of think about it is like, it's kind of like above in a certain sense. So it's like the ellipses are kind of like, I think they're like this. Please correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I could have sworn it's kind of like that. Because, we're looking from the bottom. We're looking from the bottom up. And these ellipses down here are going to be like that. Because we're like looking from above down based on the horizon. I believe that's the right way to think about it. Because it's kind of similar to like a Roman Colosseum. I don't know why I always think about that. I can't remember if I read in a book or if it was Drawbox as well. It was one of those. But, it's very similar to a cylinder. If you think about, obviously a cone is a bit similar to a cylinder. Because you have all of these, you have all of these ellipses, but they're all like the same compared to a cone in which it tapers off, and you're having that and the point. So I want to show, I'm going to show you how a cylinder would kind of map the same way if you're thinking about it. If you're thinking about it, like, let's say this is a cylinder like a Roman Colosseum. Could be more difficult to get these top and bottom parts perfect, in my opinion. Sorry, I got something in my eye. Probably just strain from looking at the screen too long. Oh, also, pro tip, don't be afraid to rotate your canvas. I don't know why I don't do this more often, but I really should, because more often than not when you're drawing, there's a preferred execution line. Personally, mine is drawing towards myself. other people may want to do it like a way. You could do that as well. Don't let that limit you. And then you can just like rotate it back. You know, I don't know why I keep doing that. So, you know, before this section is like, it's like a perfect line because we're looking at it from the horizon point. All of these ellipses below, you know, we're looking from like above down. Sorry, I drew this one and this one as like a full ellipse rather than a partial one, but they are still, like, they're the same. Just because it's a partial ellipse, like, or a full ellipse. Let me just show you, like, let's say, you know what? Let's say this is an ellipse, right? Okay, this is a partial ellipse. They're both the same. That's the important thing to know. Like, they both represent the same thing. One's just kind of one of them's just kind of a shortcut. And I always felt like with partial ellipses, it allows you a bit more room with depicting ellipses. I think it makes it a lot less of a mess as well. But like I said, any partial ellipse, if you do it close enough, you could turn it into a regular ellipse. I'm just assuming these are the same. I didn't draw it perfectly because I'm not a robot or using any assistant circle drawing tool. But sorry, I'm going to go back to this again. So this was the midway point because it's like aligned up with the horizon. You know, like I said, this is still an ellipse. We just can't see it based on our perspective. Like, it's still an ellipse. Just because we're looking at it and it's a straight line doesn't mean that it's a straight line. It's an ellipse. So above here in our cylinder, you know, we're looking from above to the top because the way the column cylinder is sitting on the horizon, it's kind of like that. And I think I'm doing this right. I'm probably messing up a lot of the degrees. That has to do with like the size of the ellipse, I believe, or the circumference. It's one of those. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to get at here. There's a lot of ways to mess around with it and play around, depict your forms no matter how you want to make it sit. You know, there are so many ways to construct and rotate and orient a cylinder or cone in this matter. I mean, it's really endless. It takes a lot of practice to even draw it crappily like I can, but you know, it could be fun. I feel like, you know, there's a lot you can do with cones. It's one of those essential shapes, I think. It's probably used for a lot of different things. I mean, I really can't name anything off the top of my head besides like one of those water pourers whose name I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like a funnel, I guess. Well, I guess a funnel's a bit different. If I'm going to think of a funnel, actually, this is a great segue. I think a funnel is like a combination of like a cone and a cylinder. So I'm going to draw one. Wow, my eye. I'm going to almost have to stop for the day because of this. Sorry, I get so much eye strain. My eyes start like blurring. So when I think of like a funnel, like you'll probably use it for, I don't know, funneling stuff. I mean, I can't say I have used a funnel since I was in like a chemistry class or I don't know, some science class when I was in high school. Yeah, I can't recall ever using one. Okay, but the important thing is, like, you have the best of both worlds. You're basically combining two shapes to get a funnel. You got the cone merged with a cylinder, with the cone being fatter at the top and the cylinder tapering out towards the bottom so you can get it to go in whatever you need it to go in. You know what I'll do? I'll draw another one on the horizon to kind of show better, to show it, depict it more. I hope I'm doing this right. I'm probably gonna make myself look like an idiot, but oh well. I rather have something good, or I rather elaborate on some concept than make it pretty. And in this case, you know, you're just gonna have a straight line, so I guess that kind of helps depict it better. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. If you do think of a funnel, I think you would also have, like, it would kind of be like that. I'm just drawing this ellipse in here. Like, this ellipse would really be like this. Actually, this is a good another point. If it did have a design or a curvature to it, it would kind of like wrap around internally, so you can kind of tell where it's all funneling towards. Kind of like that. And then it kind of just goes down more into the spout until it goes out the bottom. Actually, this was I think that was a bad way for me to depict it, because yeah, it is a bad way. Forget how I was doing that, because I just realized that this ellipse is above us, and it should be more like like we shouldn't be looking at it from top down. So this is kind of a mistake on my part. I'm really sorry about that, but it should be more like that, with like this part being the center part. Wow, I really did mess that up. Sorry, I am really tired. I'm kind of a bit exhausted at this point. Yeah, it would be like that. Wow, that is so stupid of me. You're gonna have to forgive me for this mistake, because it would kind of be more like that. I'm also getting really hungry. Oh well, I'm flawed. Who wasn't? But yeah, those are my main points that I wanted to go over today.